Yes boys, how you guys all doing today? And I'm hoping that you guys are going to have a very good weekend. And let's hope that this weekend it is going to be a positive one where we get all 3 points against Wolves. For me personally, I'm feeling quietly confident about us getting the 3 points tomorrow. And in today's video, I'm going to explain exactly why we can beat Wolves. I'm going to break down how Wolves play and the tactics we can use to get the 3 points in tomorrow's game. Now, quick plug talk out the way, and boys, listen to me. Download the OneFootball app. I'm telling you, it's so convenient and handy to use, especially when it's match day. There's so much interactive content. It's a great hub to get stats and figures surrounding players, our opponents, etc, etc. I could go on, but you guys, I've said it enough. Download the OneFootball app. It's in the link in the description below. One more quick thing, I am now a club affiliate for the Mega Store, meaning that if you want to buy your very own official Chelsea merch, I'm the guy to go to. You'll find it in the link in the description below. Smash that like button, help me get more than 1,500 likes, and finally, don't worry you guys, it's all over now. Now we move straight into the video, starting with the press conference. Now we move to the press conference, and here's what Lampard had to say. To start things, it was pretty interesting from Frank. He spoke about the international break being a mixed bag, explaining that he couldn't do as much tactical work as so many players left while others were resting. And I think that as fans, this is one thing that we constantly overlook, and it is a reality of football that us fans don't often consider. Anyway, moving on with things, he spoke about how proud he was of Mason Mount to get his England debut, and in typical manager fashion, he said that he'll have to work hard now. Lampard continues, he spoke about Reece and Callum, confirming again they're going to be playing tonight, so you guys make sure you watch the game at 7 PM. It is going to be on the 5th Stand app, and if you want to go live, it's going to cost £5 to go to the game. Anyway, he said that he wants them to be fully match fit until they play a part in the team again, so it's only going to be a matter of time. And to be honest, it was nice to hear Lampard speak about how both players are a big part of our future and that they'll all be watching them tonight. And honestly, that's what you want to hear as fans. You want to see that the team are united, they're together, and it is great to know that the players are going to be supporting Reece and Hudson-Odoi. Now, Lampard confirmed that Rudiger is fit to play. So, could we potentially see him playing tomorrow? Maybe. Lampard did speak about Rudiger's ability to be a leader and his importance when it comes to that. So, this could tell us that either one of Zuma or Christensen might lose their spot to have Rudiger back in the team. And to end with the press conference, Lampard spoke about Kova and Pedro being fit. However, Kante is out, and let's pray that he's going to be fit for the game against Liverpool. And when it comes to Emerson as well, it looks like he might be 50-50, so brace yourself to see Marcus Alonso playing left back in the game tomorrow. Now, that was the press conference, you guys. Moving straight into the predicted lineup part for today's video. Yes boys, now we move on straight into the predicted lineup for that game tomorrow against Wolves, starting with Kepa in goal. And this one's fairly obvious, it's always going to be Kepa. But when it comes to the back four, things do get a bit interesting. Now, it's looking like Rudiger is fully fit right now, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Rudiger playing in the game tomorrow based on how Lampard was speaking about the player in the press conference. And I think that Rudiger is going to play on the right hand side because that's the only position he's played since he signed for us. Now, to partner Rudiger, I think it's none other than Kurt Zouma. For me, he has been our best defender. He's been scapegoated a lot, but one thing I will tell you guys is, if you do have the free time, always rewatch our games again. When you rewatch a game without the context of, the pressures and stress of watching it as a fan, you see the game in a completely different light. And when you see it in that light, you start to realize, actually, you know what? Kurt Zouma hasn't been as bad as people have been suggesting. So for me, I think it's going to be Rudiger and Kurt Zouma on the right hand side. This is where things get interesting. Now, I'm going to take a risk with the back four. I'm going to go for Tomori at right back. And that's because Lampard was speaking about Rudiger and his leadership roles. We know that Aspie is the current captain right now. And it's like, if we have a captain in the team in Rudiger, is there a need for Azpilicueta? And we know that we have been very weak down that left-hand side. Lampard and Morris, they're definitely going to know about that. And maybe they might consider using Tomori at right back to help out with the team. And to complete the back four, it's looking like Emerson won't be playing. It looks like he's still out injured after picking up that knock playing for Italy. So, unfortunately, it looks like Marcos Alonso may be playing again tomorrow. Now that the back four is over, moving into midfield, because I see us using a 4-2-3-1. It's going to be Cover and Jorginho in the pivot. Now, to move on to the front three, it has to be Mason Mount. I mean, against Wolves, we need quick passes, we need quick, sharp movement, and we need someone that can be a goal threat by making late man runs inside the box. Mount's perfect for this, and for me, the guy has to play. And to partner Mount, Pulisic down the left-hand side, where he looks a lot more promising, I feel. And Pedro, he's fully fit, Lampard's confirmed, so he should be playing against Wolves tomorrow. And to complete the team, it's going to be none other than Tammy Abraham. And honestly, we're really going to need Tammy for his constant movement in behind. And that's the predicted lineup part out of the way. Moving on to Wolves, and I'm going to tell you guys exactly who our opponents are, how they play, and how we can beat them in tomorrow's game. Now boys, we move on to Wolves and their tactics, and immediately we can see that Wolves like to use a 3-5-2, but to really make it more accurate, it really does turn into a 3-4-1-2, where Neves has the license to break the lines and join the attack. And we saw that to great effect when he scored that unbelievable goal against Man United. Now off the ball, Wolves do turn into a 5-3-2, and as we can see, they're very compact in the central areas, and that's the whole point of Wolves' game plan. They do this so they have more men to follow runners, as well, and most importantly, blocking the passing lanes. And this has meant that when Wolves play against teams that are better than them, they've been very hard to break through because there's so many men behind the box keeping their position and being very tactically disciplined. And due to this, it does make it very hard to play between the lines because there tends to be no space. Now, when it comes to the offensive phase by Wolves, they like to push their wing-backs up very high, basically creating a 3-3-4. Adama's been converted into a wing-back, and they have the young Portuguese player Vinagre, who it looks really promising, very fast, very technically accomplished as well. So if they're able to isolate their wing-backs against our full-backs, they might cause us some issues when it comes to that. Now, one secret talent that Wolves do possess is their defender Conor Cody. Now, this guy is an exceptional long passer of the ball, and he's used to great effect to constantly find men out wide. And when you're playing a counter-attacking style where wing-backs need to bomb down the field, at times the midfield can't always play those passes. So when you have that outlet in your defender who's in his deep position, staying in his defensive line on top of that, and has the capabilities to spray passes like this, well, it's going to do your team a lot of wonders. Now, to end things on Wolves, I do want to talk about how they use their front two. Now, I've gone for Cutrone and Jota because there's a possibility that Jimenez might not be starting the game tomorrow because he only returned back from playing for Mexico. How Nuno uses his front two is quite similar to how Conte used to use guys like Morata and Olivier Giroud, and he likes his strikers to be able to play close to each other, and that's because these guys are the outlet for the direct passes that bypass the midfield and go straight to them. Because of this, these strikers have a lot of responsibilities. They need to be able to run the channels, they need to be able to play the wing backs in fields, and on top of that as well, they have to link up with each other and obviously create scoring opportunities. So no surprise why Jimenez has really prospered in the system, and for that reason, they do cause a lot of issues up front. Still though, you guys, I feel like we may have a slight advantage over Wolves tomorrow, and this falls in very nicely to the final part for today's video. That's the game plan, and that's how we can beat Wolves for tomorrow's game. Now that I've explained how Wolves like to play, how do we actually beat them? Well, one key thing is how we attack down the flanks. We must create those overloads, which we're known to do, and we need to force their wing backs back. On the ball, we need to make runs in behind constantly, and this is where Tammy Abraham's going to be so useful, because the whole game plan should be to try and create those spaces between the lines, but to be able to do that from a very effective point of view, it's going to have to mean that we use players that suit playing there, that are quick on the ball, that are quick to move off the ball, and have a quick and fast close control. And for me, I think Pedro, Mason and Pulisic are the best three players we have right now to play between the lines, and these guys are going to be important because what we want to do is we want to force the Wolves players to leave their positions. And when you have someone like Tammy up front who constantly makes runs in behind, the guy doesn't stop. He doesn't wait for anything. He looks to find defenders out of position and he exploits the space in behind them. I feel that this is how we can create the goal scoring opportunities against Wolves. Now, our use of the ball has to be very effective out wide because, as I've already said, it's best that we force Wolves to use a 5-3-2. And let me give you guys an example of something I'm talking about. Now, let's say the ball's down the right hand side. As we can see here, Tomori moves upfield. We'll see Kova moving more to the right hand side, Pedro as well, and Mason Mount. Now, the plan is, if we move the ball with speed and purpose, eventually one of the Wolves players is going to be caught out of position. And once he's out of position, let's say that's the midfield, because for me, we need to make sure it's their midfielders that are leaving their positions to help their wing backs out wide. If we can do that on a consistent basis, we can create the spaces in behind for our players to exploit them and create those goal scoring opportunities. How quickly we move the ball from left to right is going to be key. However, you guys, we must also be wary of Wolves' counter-attack. And I think one of the biggest weaknesses in the team right now is Kova and Jorginho. Now, you guys, on the ball, these guys are amazing, but it's what they do off the ball. It's how they allow runners in behind. It's how they don't get tight enough when they're defending the half space zone, like round here. And it's these key zones. I mean, to be honest, on the left hand side, we're much better, but between the lines here, this is where the defensive support isn't aggressive enough. And this is how our fullbacks get left isolated and become susceptible to overloads. Wolves are a counter-attacking side. They're going to look to use the runs in behind from guys like Neves and the rest of the team to support the play. So if these guys aren't going to be tactically aware in the middle, that could potentially cause issues for the rest of our back line. And to quickly end things, you guys, I think one major positive we are going to have for tomorrow's game is that we now have height back in the team. Let's say Tomori plays, let's say Rudiger's back in the team, Marcus Alonso as well, and Tammy Abraham. That's going to help us defend set pieces, and maybe, just maybe, Lampard may do something different to help cope against Wolves, knowing that he has more players that he can trust and rely upon. One more quick point, and for me, when it comes to our central defence, I think they're going to be too much for Wolves strikers. As I said before, there's a lot of responsibility for the Wolves strikers to bring the rest of their team in the game. And because of this, and this happened against Man United, if they're not able to keep the ball, if they're constantly losing the ball, Wolves aren't able to create goal scoring opportunities. And I think when you have guys like Kurt Zouma, Rudiger, Christensen, etc., guys that are good at 1v1 defending, I can see these guys causing Wolves a ton of issues. And on that note, you guys, I am feeling a bit confident for tomorrow. I've gone for a score prediction of 2-1. In the comment section below, give me your score predictions. Do you think we're going to win this game? And on that note, you guys, I'm going to wrap things up and keep things moving. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. I'm NiniFC. This is Behind CV. See you guys tomorrow.